Let's hear more now from Mr. Roque himself. He joins us tonight on The Final Word. Secretary Roque, thank you so much for joining us. Please clarify for us, were you in that meeting in the House of Representatives with the mother of Jennifer Laude, and you all agreed for a parole for Pemberton?
No, I deny that equivocally. Now, the House of Representatives should have a record of who visited my office on that alleged day. But the question is, if we agreed, why is it that Pemberton is only being released now? 3 years after allegedly we agreed. Perhaps what Attorney Flores is mentioning was we were discussing a compromise agreement which never came to being. No? So the question is, if we agreed to his release as early as 17, pray tell me, why is he still in jail in 2020?
But
That's a big lie, and I'm considering filing disciplinary action against Attorney Flores because it's a blatant lie.
But why did Attorney Flores even mention it? Was there not any kind of exploratory kind of conversation for an early release of Pemberton?
The point is, we've always been against his early release. We have a civil judgment against him. We have to satisfy the civil judgment that we obtained from the court because the family is rightfully entitled to it. But it does not make sense. I ask the question again, if Attorney Flores and I indeed agree that he should be released as early as 2017, why wasn't he released in 2017? That's a lie. And I think they're saying that because they need to explain why they did not hear the family of Jennifer Laude in this motion of theirs, no, to seek the early release of Pemberton. No? Why were we not even furnished a copy of the motion, the partial motion of reconsideration filed by Attorney Flores? It's as if they did not want the victim to be heard. And of course, if the victims were to be heard, they will say, no way. He was sentenced to 6 to 10 years. He's only served 4 years. Wait a minute. I stand corrected. He's been sentenced to 6 to 10 years. He's only served almost 6 years because his 6th year will be in October and it's only September. No? So why should we let him go scot-free considering that the killing of Laude was probably one of the most barbaric and one of the most heartless killings that I've ever seen. Do not forget that this American dunked the head of Jennifer Laude until she drowned in the toilet bowl of that motel and even strangled her and broke her neck. No? So that's a barbaric form of killing perpetrated by a foreigner in our country. It was a brazen disregard. It was an act of disrespect, not only to Jennifer Laude as a person, but to all transgenders and to Filipinos in general.
Secretary Roque,
No, there is no way that we will agree to a service of minimum of the sentence of 6 years.
and you've made it
there's now
clear.
serious legal questions arising from the decision of the court. No?
And you've
our
made it
laws
clear.
provide
So you've really.
that the allowance for good conduct must be recommended by the Bureau of Correction or even the jail warden. Why did the court substitute her discretion for this? The Bureau of Correction did not recommend any allowance for good conduct. So why did she consider it? No, when the rules are very clear. Of course, the jail warden and the Bureau of Corrections could not have recommended because it was not detained in a local court. So there is a legal issue now to be resolved. Now, when you're detained under the BFA and the Bureau of Correction effectively does not have jurisdiction over your person while serving the sentence because you're still being guarded by U.S. guards, why should they be entitled to a privilege bestowed on anyone by the state when the state really has limited role in seeing to it that you have reformed your ways while in detention?
So, Secretary Roque, you mentioned in your answer now about the VFA or the Visiting Forces Agreement. With this decision to release Pemberton, there are now renewed calls from certain groups for the termination of this VFA, a move which the Duterte administration had repeatedly threatened to do but has not yet carried out. So could this be the icing on the cake?
Let me correct you on that. The president has terminated VFA, except that he delayed the actual termination by a 6-month period, a couple of months back, because we were at the height of the pandemic and we were under ECQ. No? So how could the Americans be expected to pack up at the height of ECQ? But the decision has not changed. We have terminated the VFA, although held in abeyance the actual termination because of the existing quarantine.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us on The Final Word, Presidential Spokesperson, Secretary Harry Roque.
Well,
And
of
we have
course,
more
Rico,
news.
I'd like to explain that the views I expressed were in my capacity as former private prosecutor for the Laude family. I think the early release is a travesty of justice. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Secretary Roque, for joining us on the program.